What if the thing that helps you understand people better is the same thing quietly exhausting you? Not intelligence, not empathy, not curiosity, awareness. Because some people don't just enter a room. They read it. They notice the pause before someone answers, the change in someone's voice, the message that feels different from the last one. They catch details other people miss. But then something strange happens. Their brain starts turning every detail into a question. Did I say something wrong? Why did their tone change? What does this actually mean? And here's the uncomfortable question. What if seeing more doesn't always mean understanding more? What if your greatest strength can quietly become the thing draining your energy? The human brain has a strange habit. It would rather create a false alarm than miss a real threat. Thousands of years ago, that saved lives. A movement in the bushes could be a predator. So the arrive to someone by the church. A strange sound at night could mean danger. Could mean danger. The brain that assumed the worst often survive. But today, the bushes are gone. The predators are mostly gone. Yet the same survival system is still running. Now the threat might be a delayed reply, a different tone, a conversation you replay at midnight. The brain evolved to protect you from danger. But sometimes, it protects you from uncertainty. Your brain is not always trying to find the truth. Sometimes it is trying to create safety. Those are not the same thing. Here is where everything changes. Your brain is not a camera, which does not simply record reality, predicts reality. Before you consciously understand a situation, your mind is already making guesses. What someone will say. What someone will say, either how they will react. What might happen next. Imagine your brain as a movie editor. Before the final scene arrives, it is already preparing possible endings. Usually, those predictions are accurate enough that you never notice them. But highly aware people often experience something different. Their brain creates more possibilities. One conversation becomes 10 interpretations. One expression becomes 5 explanations. One unanswered message becomes an entire story. The problem is not that you think deeply. The problem is that your brain can create possibilities faster than reality can confirm them. But here's where the illusion breaks. For years, we have assumed awareness is always a superpower. The more you notice, the more you understand. But what if awareness has a hidden cost? Because noticing everything can slowly make you feel responsible for everything. Someone else's bad mood becomes something you need to fix. A small mistake becomes proof you failed. A future problem becomes something you need to solve before it even exists. And the strange part? Your brain is not trying to hurt you. It believes it is helping. It is trying to remove uncertainty. But uncertainty is something humans were never designed to completely eliminate. And this creates the biggest misunderstanding about highly aware people. They are not always seeing more reality. Sometimes they are seeing more possible realities. Scientists discovered something fascinating about perception. Two people can experience the exact same moment, and their brains can create completely different realities. Imagine two people looking at the same neutral facial expression. One person sees calm. Another sees disappointment. The face did not change. The information did not change. The interpretation changed. Why? Because the brain is not only receiving information, it is constantly filling in missing pieces. It asks, what does this mean? What happens next? Was this safe? And for someone who is extremely aware, that system can become incredibly sensitive. Think of your mind like a courtroom. Every possible outcome has its own lawyer. One voice says, "You're probably fine." Another says, "Something feels wrong." Another says, "What if you missed a hidden signal?" And the trial continues. Not because your brain is broken, because it believes one more piece of evidence might finally create certainty. But certainty has a problem. It never fully arrives. there is always another possibility, another question, another thing to analyze. And this is why highly aware people can feel exhausted. Even when nothing is actually happening, your body can be sitting still, while your mind is running hundreds of simulations, different endings, different explanations, different futures. It is like watching a movie while constantly pausing every frame to analyze it. Eventually, you stop experiencing the story. You only study it. And this leads to the question that changes everything. If awareness itself is not the enemy, then what is actually causing the exhaustion? Because the answer is not about thinking less. What is about understanding what your attention is doing. So here's what we now know. Highly aware people are not simply thinking too much. Their brains are constantly predicting, interpreting, and preparing. They are not just experiencing life. They are running simulations of life. And this creates the hidden cost of extreme awareness. The same ability that helps someone read a room can also make them feel trapped inside that room. But here's the twist. The ability that creates overthinking is also the ability behind creativity, empathy, and deep understanding. A person who notices more can create more, feel more, understand more. The goal was never to destroy awareness. The goal was to control where it goes. Because attention is not just something you have. It is something you spend. And what you repeatedly spend it on slowly becomes your reality. This is where many highly aware people make their biggest mistake. They confuse observation with responsibility. They notice someone is upset and immediately feel responsible for fixing it. They notice tension in a room and assume they caused it. They notice uncertainty and believe they must solve it before moving forward. But the same ability that helps you read the room can also trap you inside the room, because eventually you stop observing life and start monitoring it. Awareness is a flashlight, not a command. A flashlight shows you what exists. It does not demand that you chase every shadow. So how do you train this ability? Start with one question. When your brain creates a frightening possibility, do not immediately ask, "What if this happens?" Ask, "What evidence do I have that this is happening right now?" That one question separates reality from prediction. Then try something else. When you replay a conversation, ask, "Am I remembering what happened? Or am I rewriting what I fear happened?" Because the human brain is not only a memory machine. It is also a story machine. And sometimes, the story feels more real than the event itself. But this is the part that matters most. The answer was never becoming less aware. It was learning how to direct awareness. Your sensitivity is not the enemy. Your lack of control over where it goes is. And this leads to a deeper question. Why do some of the most observant people still feel disconnected from their own lives? The answer is not hidden in how much they think. It is hidden in what they believe they are. At some point, highly aware people stop saying, "I sometimes overthink," and they start saying, "I am an overthinker." That difference sounds small, but psychologically, it changes everything. One describes a behavior. The other creates an identity. It is the difference between carrying a heavy backpack and believing you are the backpack. However, the backpack, when awareness becomes your identity, rest can feel irresponsible. Silence can feel suspicious. Letting go can feel unsafe. But awareness was never designed to control every moment. It was designed to guide you through moments. Think about a smoke detector. When there is a real fire, it can save your life. But if it screams every 5 minutes, eventually, you stop listening. Your brain is not your enemy. Your alarm system simply needs calibration. Remember the question we started with? What if the thing that helps you understand the world is also the thing exhausting you? The answer is Not that you notice too much. The answer is that nobody taught you what deserves your attention. Think about all the energy spent replaying things that are already finished. Conversations that ended. Mistakes that passed. Problems that never arrived. Now imagine taking that same energy and investing it somewhere new. Into creating something. Into building relationships. Into experiencing the moment already happening around you. Your awareness was never meant to become a prison. It was meant to become a compass. A compass does not stop the storm. It simply helps you move through it. Maybe being too aware was never your weakness. Maybe it was a powerful tool that nobody taught you how to hold. You do not need to become less thoughtful. You do not need to stop noticing. You only need to remember this. Your attention is the invisible architect of your life. Every day, it decides what grows, what disappears, and what becomes your reality. The goal was never to silence your mind. The goal was to become the person who decides which thoughts deserve to be heard. If this changed the way you see your own mind, share it with someone who spends too much time inside theirs. And if you want more documentaries about psychology, science, and the hidden patterns behind human behavior, subscribe. Because the next thing you discover about your brain might completely change the way you see yourself. Stay curious,